Hello and welcome to the Dokapon Library, your one-stop shop for neglecting the Switch version of this game's updates. But that's mainly because on September 2nd, the Steam version of Dokapon Sword of Fury was updated from version 1.1.1 to 1.1.2. And along with this update comes a set of patch notes detailing several new changes, with the headlining feature being the addition of new CPU behavior types. This was actually teased by the official Dokapon account as the main focus for this update, so let's see how this new system works. When starting a game with CPUs, you'll now have two options to select from for the CPU type. Type A is the original type used before this update, but Type B is the new option that the game labels as more aggressive than the original. It's a bit difficult to quantify level of aggression, so I conducted a test between the two CPU types. I set up two different games with exclusively Type A and Type B CPUs to test how long it would take each type to progress through the game. For this test, each game will play up to finishing Chapter 4. Type A took about 31 weeks to complete Chapter 4, and Type B only took 19 weeks to make the same progress. The total difference between these two was 83 days. This is only a single test, but it does show that Type B is much more active and pushes towards objectives more than Type A does. This is a good thing because one of the main complaints with the Type A CPUs were that they weren't really relevant to the main game since they didn't focus on pushing the story forward. The more aggressive Type B playstyle is also now the default option for CPU players, and while it might feel weird making the more aggressive one the default, it is much more indicative of the Dokapon experience. Regardless, the new Type B CPU is a much welcome addition that makes these games a whole lot more interesting. Character color variations are now reflected during combat. In the previous 1.1.0 update, each character got 3 new alternative colors to choose from at the start of a game. These colors were previously only applied to the overworld sprite, leaving their battle models and portrait sprites as the original colors. This update changes this so that their battle models now have the alternative colors as well. In terms of color accuracy, there are several pieces on the models that don't change color. They instead keep the original color of the character even when those pieces do change color in the overworld sprites. Some of these include Skop's cape, Skop's eyes, Urara's eyes, red Bulikin's bolts, blue and yellow Molde's eyes, Dawn's backpack buttons, and Dawn's glasses. There were already inconsistencies between the overworld sprites and battle models for the original character colors, but it is worth pointing the new ones out. It is also worth noting that the portrait sprites still have the original colors to them even when using an alternative character color. New icons now clearly show which player controls each village even when using the same character. Normally, the village nameplate changes color depending on the character that currently owns the village. For example, this pink color determines that Urara owns the village. However, this doesn't account for if two players are playing as the same character. These two villages are owned by two different Uraras, but you can't tell which Urara owns which village. The 1.1.2 update fixes this issue by adding the character color icon above the village nameplate. The issue that specific color icons have the incorrect colors in the English version is still present, but you can at least tell that these two villages are owned by two different players. And finally, a couple of bug fixes were made. Fixed an issue where the battle effect on the field was not displaying correctly. This most likely refers to the effect that shows when a battle is currently taking place on a space. And fixed font rendering issues in Japanese, Simplified Chinese, and Traditional Chinese. Overall, this is a very good set of changes, the CPU type overhaul being the obvious highlight. In terms of future updates, there are now only two things remaining that have been promised by the official Dokapon account: Korean language support and alternative character colors for the 2D illustrations. So we do have at least one more update to look forward to. Thank you for joining me on this Dokapon news update, and I'll see you later for some more Dokapon content.